a hole. So I guess he was serving the function of a psychiatrist, but from a religious angle. Well, Paul shot himself in the head and killed himself, even with this guy trying to tug him out. So outside influences can be pretty meaningless to somebody who's committed to committing, if you know what I mean. However, you got to try. If you love somebody, you got to try. And in Paul's case, he didn't reach out for help with words. He acted out, and that's what ended up getting the help come to him. And it wasn't enough. He needed to be probably institutionalized, kept from himself until they could get his chemicals right. You'd be surprised what can happen when your chemicals are out of balance in your head. Reason and logic can't even make a dent. It will just tell you that this is the worst you've ever felt. You don't feel like getting out of bed. You just know that if you die, you won't have to deal with the pain anymore. And you know what? You're right. You're right. But here's my whole thing about it. Why would you kill yourself when this life is so short anyway, and there's a chance that there's no afterlife? At the very least, you owe yourself the experience of a lifetime. You owe that to yourself. You're a sensor here on Earth. You're something that takes in input. And you owe it to yourself and to nature to continue on. Do you know of any animal that commits suicide unless it is to help his own species or family? I don't. It's just, and what it comes from is expectations and disappointment. Expectations. People expecting you to be a success. People expecting you to hang out with certain people, accomplish certain things, and you don't do it, and then you feel guilt, along with any chemical imbalance. Anything that hurts you is going to be amplified, and anything that might make you happy is going to be diminished. Something to consider. Don't kill yourself. It's just, there's a website. I think I'm going to share it. Let's see. I want to commit suicide. There's a website that basically says, okay, if you're going to do it, here. But then the guy talks to you. It's really good. I hope I can find it. How to commit suicide. I don't know if I'm ever going to find this. This guy, I saw the link on Facebook and I went and read it, and it was really awesome. It's like, okay, you're going to kill yourself? All right. Well, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it, but let's talk about it a little bit. And he really kind of talks people out of it. Yeah, no, I can't find it, so I'm not going to waste your time looking for it. But I'll see if I can find it. If I can, I will share that with you. Yep, depression. Think about it. Think about how many people you hurt if you kill yourself. All right, think about that. And then think about this. Seeing a doctor or a psychiatrist, but usually just your family doctor, you could get your chemicals right. You can get on an antidepressant. At least try that. At least try it. If you find out that the pills and the counseling aren't helping, you can do all this in privacy, and they're not helping, then you may have to off yourself anyway. You know what my psych professor said in my second semester of college? and I swear to God he said this. And I'm going to quote because it really stuck with me. He was talking about suicide, and he said, quote, "Some people just need to go that way," unquote. You want to talk about, of course I remember that. You're talking about a world-class psychiatrist who was teaching us psych and said, you know what? Some of them you can't fix. Holy shit. That resets the bar, because some of these people that are reaching out for help and they think, oh, you're going to try. It's kind of like the guy who has the hostages and he's like, oh, here comes another hostage negotiator. And the hostage negotiator says, fucking shoot the hostages if you want. Does it make you feel good? That'll really reset your frame of reference. On the other hand, if you do think about how many people you're going to hurt if you kill yourself, and then you consider, one, you could probably be fixed if you get your chemicals right. Chemicals is a big deal. Get your chemicals right with medication. You will have optimism again. You will have eventually a positive outlook. You may need counseling if it's partially environmental. Get that shit straight. And then start putting one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. You'll find that maybe life is rewarding. Maybe life has a purpose for you. I think nature is asking you to stay alive. It seems against nature to me to kill yourself. That's not right. Now, for someone that's in severe pain all the time, these people with cancer and stuff like that, I understand. I'm actually for assisted suicide. I am. But some people think that's crazy, or they think it's the Bible will send you to hell for that. Christianity won't allow for it. I don't know about all that. I don't like to see a creature suffer, and that's really what it comes down to. Here's what somebody said to this guy who's thinking about committing suicide, which obviously he's going to have to come to terms with the fact that he flunked out of college, okay? And he's going to have to tell his family and friends this. And he's been lying for 2 years. This guy says, "You are not the first person to flunk college, but it is understandable that you feel down. Perhaps you are not cut out for it yet. Perhaps you could get a job, learn, as you say, on the job, and come back to a degree later when you are ready and motivated. I was not ready to start my degree until I was 29, and my sister held off into her 40s and then went on to do a master's. In the UK, there is an increasing scope for traineeships where people learn on the job as the cost of university education has soared. Some continental countries are more advanced in this respect, I believe." That's giving practical advice, but you're giving practical advice to somebody who's not thinking practically. Again, their logic and reason is pushing back against the emotions. I would like to have seen this person who posted this, who says, "Riddle me this," respond. And I haven't seen that, and that's not a good sign. He wrote this on 9/27, so for all I know, he's gone by now. Looking at some of the other responses, it seems, I don't know. It seems like they're not going to make a difference with a guy like this. I think he was looking for a miracle, and I think that's what some people that reach out just at the end are looking for. And I don't think you should count on that. How about setting up your life so that suicide would seem like a terrible idea? Let's work backwards. If you've ever felt like you at least would consider suicide, all right, and most of us have thought, what would it be like if I killed myself? And you could think of it in a practical sense. I've thought about it. You just think, what would it be like if I were gone, And what you do is work backwards. You go, okay, I don't want to commit suicide. Therefore, what is the life I need to be living for me to not want to commit suicide, for me to have things to live for? And then start putting those things in place. Because people don't tend to think backwards. They always think forwards. I can't get out of this. It's too deep. I gotta kill myself. Well, use your imagination and imagine you escaping from this situation in a different way. And then do that. Here's somebody saying, "I think I may have been molested by my father." This is an odd one. Most of my life, I was always socially awkward and shy. I remember when I was really young, I was a little more social and happy. I suddenly had a vague anger and depression kind of mysteriously sweep over me sometime in my early childhood. There have been signs that point to the probability that my father is a child molester or pervert at least. Wow. Interesting. And then there's a bunch of quotes. I can't tell. It's very broken apart. There's Midnight Runner is his name on there. You'll have to look at that yourself. It's way too deep for me. The post has got to be 1,000 words long. So I'm surprised that someone would, I'm surprised that someone would think that just because depression visited them at a young age. I don't know. Maybe there was other indicators there. How can one recover this one when you're stuck in an unhealthy society? How does that work? I don't think all the therapy in the world can fix that. You know what they say about being well adjusted to a profoundly sick society? Recover, huh? I'm going to leave that alone. I think I'm going to go to news. There's plenty of sick fuckers in the news. I don't need to pick on people who actually have psychological problems. Ebola, I told you, you need to give it about as much thought as you give to getting struck by lightning while on a surfboard. Not something that's going to get you. Let's see. Missing 19-year-old field goal enables... What? Oh, missed 19-year... Okay, whatever. I burst into tears of joy. It's a blessing. Da-da-da-da. Don't like it. Alan Henning, service held for murdered British hostage. So ISIS is still killing people. Have you thought about this? The numbers don't matter when it comes to something like ISIS or Ebola. Why? It is the fashion in which death visits that is what captures you. Ebola, a virus that could be fast spreading, could lead to Night of the Living Dead and zombies running around. That's what you're thinking. It's what a lot of younger people are thinking. There are plenty of dangerous viruses out there. There are plenty of dangerous bacterial infections out there that can obviously take root and start to grow. But we are relatively well prepared in America for any of that stuff, including if something like the plague got out, or you know, look what they did with bird flu. They had people terrified with this. How many of your friends are gone now from bird flu? Can you think of one? I'll bet you can't. But they sure had you tuning in, didn't they? Bird flu, bird flu, bird flu. Jesus Christ. Is that the problem? Are we just so taken by the drama of a type of death that we can't see the more common cause? I mean, 50% of the deaths in America are from coronaries, essentially, or cancer. But you don't hear about that. I mean, you're hearing about this 0.001% shit. Well, what is that? I don't understand why we're so swayed by the drama of a passing rather than concerned about the numbers. Let's see. New map of ocean floor discovers thousands of undersea volcanoes. Ooh, I know a friend who's going to like that. I got to go share that with her. My friend Karen Holmberg is a PhD. She's, I think, one of the 2 or 3 from my class in high school that became PhDs. We only had 72 people in my graduating class. So she's a volcano person. And I'm going to share this for her. And any of you that are not friends with me on Facebook, you can find me. You can look me up. Kevin A. Kierstead, just like it sounds. Let's see. For Karen. I'm sure she already knew this. You know, you think you're helping somebody that's an expert in something because you stumble across a news article about it and they're like, yeah, been there, done that. Psychiatrist says, I hate suicide, but I also understand it. How about that shit? Anyway, we're getting away from that. I'm getting back to the news. What's been in the news that you care about lately? Ebola's been in the news. ISIS. Not a lot of other shit, to be honest with you. You know it's a slow news day when 2 or 3 people in your country have contracted a treatable disease, and it's all the rage. Let's go to world news. Have I lost you guys in the chat room there? Come on now. I need your help. I need some participation here. Hong Kong lawmakers plea for protesters to leave streets. I don't think they're pleading anymore. They've set a deadline, and things are going to get ugly if the people don't clear out. They've got to be careful because the world is watching, but I think they'll resort to tear gas and the